All right, well, we are going to go ahead and get started today, so just wanted to run through a very brief introduction here of myself. I'm Robert Clark with Petersen International, part of the business development and kind of agency support staff we have over here. So we have a whole team ready here that focuses only 100% on DI. And that is our main purpose of what we kind of wanted to get out on the table to you guys today. So May has been Disability Insurance Awareness Month, and they are constantly plugging DI throughout the month of May. And, you know, it's a great thing. We are very excited. We joke around here that it's our favorite time of the year and favorite month of the year, but we want to be able to give you ways to use these tools throughout the remainder of the year. So how do we bring DI into every discussion for a year-round sales opportunity for every client? So just like I talked about, some of the objectives today are going to be to summarize DIM, the Disability Insurance Awareness Month, learn some of the right questions to be asking on every appointment with every client, a very brief overview of some different income protection planning methods, a very valuable case study that we have here through Petersen that you'll definitely want to keep in mind for future clients, and then again, exactly how we're going to take action to make this important and a priority for the other 11 months of the year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So Disability Insurance Awareness Month is something that's provided by a couple different associations that really put a great deal of attention to it. That would be lifehappens.org and disabilitycanhappen.org. Both of these sites do a phenomenal job of providing you, the insurance advisor, with hundreds of marketing materials, life stories, emailable content, printable flyers, anything you need to make disability insurance a part of the discussion for your client, as well as a number of social media tools that you can use just to copy and paste onto your platforms. So a number of those, and probably the most popular, is this stat right here. More than 25%, or 1 in 4, of your clients will be disabled at some point before they retire. Those are a lot greater odds than what people actually expect. In other words, about every 7 seconds, someone is diagnosed with an illness or suffers from a serious accident that keeps them out of work for at least 1 month. Then, when we look at what exactly happens when that paycheck stops, you have to ask the clients, where are you going to get the money from? More than half of individuals say they would resort to their savings account, but they might not truly understand how much is needed in order to support their lifestyle. Then they might transfer to selling off possessions, which strips them of their assets, or building up loans and credit card debt, again, to sustain their ability to live and keep lights on and food on the table. The most common claim for a disability insurance policy is musculoskeletal disorders, followed by mental nervous or serious illnesses such as cancer. Many people expect that one of these may occur at some point in their life, but they're not taking the steps to plan for this. They're not aware that their paycheck will stop if they're not able to continue working for an extended period of time. So what we're here to do is to expose that need and make sure our clients are properly prepared to take care of this. Life Happens and Disability Can Happen also provides you with a number of real-life stories. These are probably the most valuable ways to reach out to your clients to show them that these truly exist. And these are individuals who have lived it firsthand. Some had the proper planning in place, and you can see the difference it made in their lives, and others have not. They've had the gaps, they've had the holes in their protection where they weren't lined up for disability income planning, and that left them in financial ruins. So very touching stories, very important stories to be able to share with your clients. This graphic right here is probably my all-time favorite. Not every disability is visible. We walk down sidewalks, we walk through stores and grocery shops. We don't realize how many people are actually fighting something that we don't know about. For me in particular, a real quick touch on my personal story, my own father was disabled for 21 years battling cancer. I wasn't even 1 year old at the time he was diagnosed. But it wasn't until I was about 15 or 16 that I understood that there was something wrong with him. Even then, he still looked like a normal person. So while most disability insurance marketing materials and things like this show people in wheelchairs and people in hospital beds, that's not exactly what it looks like. And I think this is the reason why disability is so undersold, is because people truly do not realize what battles are being fought behind the eyes of certain people, whether it's them personally, a spouse, a family member that they're having to take care of or support. It's a lot more common than we are actually aware of. And so this is the message that we have to spread to our clients, to our advisors that we're working with on a daily basis. So you can't prevent a disability from happening. There's absolutely no way. But the one thing you can do is prepare for it and make sure your clients are prepared for it. A great quote that I often refer to, and one that just seems to have an even stronger impact every time I read it, is this: life is dependent upon a person's ability to make money. That's why it's called earning a living. You'll read that a few more times to yourself at some point at a later date, and I guarantee you it'll start to set in, and that'll be one that you'll want to have to keep tight with you and have ready to be sent an email or throw in your signature, because that, I think, summarizes it in the most clear, concise manner that can really make a difference. So a lot of hang-up is there's not too many people that focus 100% in disability insurance. It's very rare that we can find an expert in disability insurance. So whether we're coming from the life side, from the health side, or a P&C agent, a huge hang-up is, how do we start the DI conversation? The big thing is asking the right questions to your client. This one, a great one. What do you know about the impact of a disability? So when you're there at the life meeting, you're fact-finding a little bit, seeing the needs of your client. Make sure to prompt this question as well. Mr. Bob, do you know how your financial plan would be impacted if you were disabled? Just see what they would respond, whether it's a yes, whether it's no, I haven't really thought about that at all, enlighten me a little bit. That gets the conversation going. Sometimes they might think they have an answer, and one of the answers might be one of the following: either looking to loan or credit cards, their surrounding family or friends, or tapping into their savings for these resources. A great question to follow, and we're going to get back to those options, but another great question to make sure that really helps give you a basis of how you can pitch the disability insurance sale is asking your client, do you know anyone who is disabled or has felt the financial impact of a disability? So either them personally, a family, a friend, someone who's fought the difficulties of a disability, because if so, this increases the chances of a sale to that individual by about 30%. The reason being, disability is a very tough financial burden. Many people don't realize it, and it takes the first-hand experience or even the second-hand experience to understand someone else's situation to really see the need for a product to protect your income. So, going back to these options, you know, many people say, I would take out a loan for the money and then at least get me past the first year. After that, I can pull from life insurance, whatever the case may be. When you go to that loan counselor, they're going to say, what do you do? Well, a month ago, I was a CPA. What do you make? Well, you know, it's my vacation time is almost up right now, but I'm still earning my current income of about $150,000. And how soon can you pay this loan back? I'd like to make the smallest amount of payments for the longest amount of time. That conversation is not going to go well. They're not going to be able to offer a loan to someone not currently working. So if we look to family, a lot of people underguess the true amount they need for financial support for their family. Yes, a $5,000 or $10,000 check from a parent or sibling might be possible, but how far does that get you? 1 month, maybe 2 months? I mean, we are talking about at least a $50,000 lump sum in order to very carefully budget out expenses for 1 year. So again, a lot of people undercut the true expenses of daily living, and especially those when you're fighting against a disability. The most common answer is self-funding, or using their savings or investments, the funds that they have spared there. And for that, we have a unique formula that really exploits the need and the gap of what people can actually expect to have to be able to set aside. To really break down the self-fund formula, and this is something I encourage everyone to take note of and to have ready for any of your client meetings, is you want to look at their expenses, their monthly expenses. We're going to multiply that by the average claim period, and then divide it by how many years they might have to save that money. So in our example, here at the bottom, we're going to assume this client's age 35. Let's say, you know, we're going to prepare as if he were to be disabled at 55, and he would be disabled for a 5-year period, about the average claim. So he's spending $5,000 a month, the average claim period being 60 months. So we take that lump sum. Again, he's age 35. Let's just say he was disabled at, or plans to be disabled at 55. That gives him 20 years to save that amount of money. Once we plug this into the equation, we find out he would have to save $15,000 a year, or $1,250 per month. Mr. Bob, are you able to save $1,250 a month for the next 20 years? Most likely not. If he says yes, unfortunately a lot of the agents would say, well, let me talk to you about whole life. Unfortunately, that's not the right answer. We have to really expose the need for a disability income policy. This is not a doable financial circumstance for almost all of the population. So disability insurance, or income protection, is truly the only solution that can immediately be ready to support your income, and most importantly, through retirement age. So getting a policy that pays out to age 65, 67, or 70. If it's a lifetime disablement, you are worry-free all the way until that age. And that allows you to prepare for retirement still, to live a normal life until that age, and live and take care of your disability as if nothing had happened, as if you had worked your entire career. So it's providing you funds for everything that builds up the estate and the life that you live. So asking your client, what are your regular expenses? Most likely it's going to come with a list of the following. We can take two different approaches. The first, the most basic, is the single needs approach. This looks at the mandatory expenses we're going to have to pay on a monthly basis. What can I truly get away with as a bottom line need? This would at least keep my head above water if my paycheck were to stop. We add up these average expenses and we see it's about $5,000 per month. So regardless of the income, we're just really fact-finding at this point. But again, a very basic approach, and to keep your client's head above water if something were to occur. The one flaw with this single needs approach is we're not looking at the big picture. So that would be, how's the retirement plan affected if you're disabled, and if we're only funding those monthly expenses. This chart here, we're going to show this is the normal curve if an individual were to continue working, putting $10,000 a year towards their retirement plan. This red line now is going to assume the client was disabled at age 40. The result is a retirement fund of less than half of what it should have been. Again, the red line shows just organic growth with an end towards future contributions, because we haven't planned to include the savings contributions in the disability insurance planning. So how we fix this is we bring that into the equation, because an objection that your client may have is, you know what, this extra $850 a month, I'm really just saving or reinvesting here and there. You know, it's not a mandatory thing that I include this in my disability insurance. Well, it might be. If we're looking at the bigger picture, if there's a chance that you're going to be disabled for a 5-year or possibly an entire career-ending injury, you're going to want to make sure you're able to contribute to those financial assets. And so we look at the new comprehensive planning approach. All we've added here is the bottom line, savings or contributions, what we're reinvesting in ourselves and our own accounts, and at least give your client a chance to look at this option. And so one of the ways that you back this, especially if you're coming from a financial advising perspective, is by saying, Mr. Bob, we've created this financial plan for you, but this is based on you earning your income of blank to age 65 or to age 70. This plan does not work if we have to pull or if we can no longer contribute to these funds. So that's something that we have to look at, and that makes a very big impact on the client, because they want to be secure at age 70 when they're looking to retire for the next 20 or 30 years, as secure as they are during their working career. So how is it affected? If we look back at our disrupted graph, I'll call it, if we've disability income planned appropriately, now we are still not on the green line, but we are much closer, within about $100,000 of what would have been our normal retirement fund. So the importance here of comprehensive disability income planning and making sure that we are looking at the big financial picture when it comes to disability insurance. So one of the things I want to prompt you to think about is, what's your goal for selling DI? Is it just to add a complementary product? Do you really want to hit it hard this year and sell $100,000 in annual premium to your entire book of business? I want to make a small suggestion in your goal and things to take forward as we leave May. How about to place a check in the hands of your clients when they absolutely need it most, so to support them and their family at the time of need? As insurance professionals, isn't that what we do? Isn't that our sole purpose? 1 in 4 individuals are suffering a disability that lasts longer than 1 month. There's a very great chance that if you just talk to your current book of business, that you will be passing out some checks, and you will be able to be the hero to these individuals who needed you at a desperate time. I just also want to make a note. People refer their agents and advisors based off good customer service and great education of their specialties, but especially when someone was able to save the day and actually use their insurance product for their own benefit and to continue their life before a disability or a premature death, that is the strongest referral someone can pass your way. And so by being the hero on multiple occasions, that's just expanding your growth and your growth opportunity. The Petersen side of things, I'm trying to keep this webinar very generic, but just so everyone knows, and I did get a lot of inquiries on how to really income financial plan for high net worth individuals, so I at least wanted to get this on the table. It's sometimes, depending on an individual's income, it's going to take more than one disability insurance policy to solve your client's needs. This is where we at Petersen International Underwriters specialize, is by supplementing your client's disability portfolio. We often find that individuals working for a corporation or normal company have a group LTD in force. Some cases have an individual disability insurance policy above that, but we still might have a gap and have a need to protect more of their income. So for that, we have the 3rd and 4th tier through Petersen International, which supports up to an extra $250,000 per month of benefits. We refer to this as the $250,000 trigger. That means that any one of your clients earning at least $250,000 per year, we can almost guarantee there will be a need for supplemental DI. And that's when you approach Petersen and bring us into the picture for that overall financial plan. The perfect case study to emphasize the importance of this, our very own Dr. C. Dr. C is an insured of a number of different companies utilizing a number of different policies, and unfortunately suffered a claim almost very soon after his disability income policy was purchased. So Dr. C is an orthopedic surgeon, age 50, earning $1.5 million per year. That came out to about $132,000 before taxes. So what he had in force initially replaced about 21% of his total income. You can see it's the $12,000 and $16,000, so about close to $30,000 a month but again, only 20% replacement of income. So when he came to Petersen, he purchased a policy for $49,000 monthly benefit. That got him up to just under 60%. The reason he chose that amount is because that's how much he was spending on a monthly basis when he looked at his entire financial savings, contributions, monthly expenditures, and to continue the lifestyle he's living. So he was able to purchase almost $50,000 in benefits from us for about 3% of his income, and that brings him in almost $600,000 per year of his disability insurance benefit. This, I think, is an amazing story because it really grabs the importance of proper disability insurance planning. When we tell people what we do, it's almost they don't take us seriously, and they don't see that someone earning this large amount of salary would need $50,000 or $100,000 in monthly benefits. It just seems just silly. But what they don't realize is that these high income earners still spend a majority of their income. You see the extravagant houses they live in, the multiple cars, much nicer than even the home I live in. I mean, these people live a very healthy lifestyle, and it's just as important that their monthly expenditures are protected as the normal rank and file are everyday Joes. So a very important piece to make. Again, this is just one example of many, and a number of other real-life stories that are available on those Life Happens and DisabilityCanHappen.org. So as we kind of wrap up here, I do have a couple more slides, but really, how do we take this information to create a success in disability insurance for the other 11 months of the year? I think one of the most important things, and almost too simple and we too often forget, is to promote DI with every client you sit down with. A lot of people don't buy DI from their life insurance agent. They don't know that they offer it. So at least make sure it's coming up in the conversation. At least make sure your client is aware that you can protect their income. And if they don't want it now, at least they know to come to you when it's time to approach the topic. You need to identify who your key prospects are. If you don't currently sell disability insurance, you need to look at your entire book of business and see who needs your help the most in providing proper disability insurance planning. We'll get into the criteria of what that might entail a little bit later. And again, if you don't sell DI every day, we cannot emphasize enough the benefits of pairing up with a brokerage general agency. There's a reason that us as carriers work with these BGAs and prefer to work with these BGAs because they know their stuff, they know our stuff, as well as MET, Principal, Standard. They know the entire world of disability insurance, and they're there to support you throughout the entire sales process, whether that's a sales idea, helping you with a client meeting, or case management and underwriting. They are the experts that will be right next to you and answering those small questions that your client might have, making you the expert in something you don't specialize in. A brokerage general agency is a great thing to bring onto your team if you're not selling DI every day. And some of the most beneficial points that you can take on your client meetings is, first off, being absolutely direct with your client. Mr. Bob, I offer DI. Do you know what your DI looks like through X employer? Okay, as their agent, you already have a handful of their facts, whether you're working on the life or the health side with them. You know their income, you know their age, specifics, things like that, and you might even know their monthly expenditures or their main worries, if something were to happen to them. So these are huge things that you have to be able to take and look at all aspects, include in the DI, point of sale, because you're 75% of the way there. The reason DI doesn't sell is just because it hasn't been brought up. Start the DI discussion using the questions that we talked about. Mr. Bob, I'm curious, what exactly do you know about the impact of a disability? And do you know anyone who suffered a disability or the financial impact of maybe a friend or family member? And if your client is hesitant, maybe you've quoted them, you've maybe done a little fact find, call them out on it. In the email or shoot them a text, I mean no pressure, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity to say no if you don't see this as a priority in your income plan. They probably won't want to say no. So expose the questions that they might have that either they're afraid to ask, they don't really have time to focus on it, but at least keep that conversation going with your client. And so how you take action following these two slides is, I would say, send personal emails. If you're not selling disability insurance, pick 10 of your current clients that you think have the best prospecting for DI. That would be earning an income, especially a sole breadwinner, someone supporting the entire family off one income, people with a potential group, so if they're a senior executive at a company or maybe a small business owner where you might be able to look at some guaranteed issue opportunities. And I would say an ideal client would really be under 50. You would prefer someone who's still in good health, still has their peak income earning years ahead of them, and also under 50 is really the easier side of the sale because the cost is still relatively low to their income. So that's where you're going to see the easiest sales and the most likely to close. And my last and final point is very similar to what I've been preaching this entire time, but make sure disability insurance or income protection is on all of your marketing material. Business cards, websites, emails, and coming up in every client consultation. Because without bringing it up, you never know who will say yes. You never know who will really ask and say, I've heard of that, or yes, my uncle just went through that. I would like to protect my paycheck. And so with that, I hope we've done a beneficial job to you of summarizing what exactly has been displayed throughout Disability Insurance Awareness Month of May. We are very excited to help you with any disability insurance planning that you might have questions with. We don't, our positioning in the disability insurance industry is the impaired risk, the high net worth, and those unique situations, but we are all passionate and all have a great care for this industry. So if you just had a generic question about a potential client or would like to be connected to a local brokerage agency and don't really know of one in your area, please don't hesitate to contact us. So we're not going to aim to make a sale on every call. We just want to be the helpful crew here. So any way that we can be of assistance to you, please do not hesitate to ask. My email is in the bottom right of this screen, robert@piu.org. Please feel free to get in contact with me directly. I'm happy to answer any questions. If they're not a fit for me, I will gladly distribute them to the appropriate people in our office. So again, we really appreciate everyone attending today. I hope you were able to take away something of value and look forward to working with all of you in the future. Have a great day.